Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Food for the Faithful channel with me, Bill Reimer. Your somewhat reluctant prophet today. I'm only reluctant because I know that what I have to say will be hard for you to hear. But nevertheless, because it's the truth, I hope you're able to hear it. Why are murderous ideologies invariably based upon hijacking our emotions? This is a good place to begin today, given the conflict currently going on in the Middle East. Murderous ideologies are frequently rooted in intense primal emotions rather than rational thought, because these ideologies are designed to bypass critical thinking, to trigger immediate, often violent behavioral responses. By focusing on emotional drivers such as fear, anger, and rage, these ideologies manipulate individuals into perceiving threats and acting on them, often bypassing the brain's rational, logical centers. Here's a breakdown of why murderous ideologies are primarily based on feeling. 1. Emotions overpower rationality. Hijacking the brain. Intense emotions like outrage and fear activate the amygdala, the brain's survival focused primal center, which can override the prefrontal cortex, the areas responsible for logic, empathy, and decision making. Crimes of passion. Many violent acts are not calculated, but rather impulsive reactions to intense emotions like jealousy, revenge, or more commonly, fear based anger. The role of fear. Fear is a powerful primary motivator that can shut down rational thought and drive people toward aggressive, protective, or defensive actions against perceived enemies. Number 2, dehumanization and the us versus them dynamic. Emotional categorization. Ideologies often foster an us versus them mentality, which uses emotion to categorize people, leading to dehumanization. Creating bad essence. To justify violence, ideologies often promote the idea that the target group is not different, but fundamentally evil, subhuman, or animalistic. This removes the emotional barrier of empathy, allowing for cruelty without guilt. 3. Psychological justification and control. Post hoc rationalization. While initially driven by feelings, murderous ideologies provide a structure to justify actions after the fact. People tend to look for reasons for their actions, so once the killing begins, hate serves as a justification that reinforces the behavior. Authoritarian dynamics. Extreme violence is often linked to authoritarian personalities who seek to regain a sense of power or control when they feel threatened or insecure. Emotional manipulation. Manipulators exploit cognitive biases by using emotional triggers, such as, for instance, in the case of the Holocaust, where anger over economic and political crisis was channeled into anti Semitism. 4. Need for belonging and meaning. Group cohesion. Murderous ideologies often provide a sense of purpose and social belonging. The pressure to conform to a group makes it difficult for individuals to break away as they fear rejection. Ideology as a shield. Such belief systems are often hard shells of fixed dogma that protect individuals from the uncertainty of reality, hiding an underlying chaotic and unbridled emotionalism. In conclusion, murderous ideologies are effective because they leverage rather than challenge the most raw, primitive, and intense emotional states of human beings. To sum it up, so the question remains, Why are so many of our so-called democratic institutions captured by hyper-emotionality that leads to them becoming authoritarian and, as a result, potentially murderous? Why are so many of the leftist leaders of Western countries decrying the combined efforts of Israel and the US to end the tyranny of a murderous theocracy which has killed thousands of its own people while attacking its neighbors with impunity as it shouts, "Death to Israel and death to America"? Western leaders are openly sympathizing with the homicidal, hyper-emotional, irrational worldview of Islam and its top-down absolutism because they hope to do something similar to their own citizens. And yes, I mean that. It's the only reason they would be sympathizing with them. They depend on their vote, and they themselves are authoritarian at heart. This is why British subjects are now being jailed for Facebook posts, and why Tommy Robinson is under constant attack from the authorities for exposing the extent of the Muslim rape gangs operating in the UK. It is time to restore reason to politics by rejecting the toxic feelings upon which postmodern cultural relativism and cultural Marxist critical race, gender, and climate catastrophizing theory operate, because these things have utterly weaponized our governments against their own citizens. But here's where it gets kinky, and I love the kinky part. For many years, I booked and hosted blues gigs and events in Niagara to some measured success. As a result, the blues scene in the Niagara Peninsula is a happening, as we say in the biz. What is invaluable in playing the blues convincingly is feel. Many folks have the coordination and ear to play well technically. Many have mastered the theory of music to express themselves using their understanding of harmony, modes, melody, time, and technique to play well mechanically, but do so without any real mojo. No juju in their juice, as it were. However, some folks who seem to know nothing of these things theoretically still play with such expression and passion that it astounds me that such funkitudinal groovinality could exist. I know, since I've had the privilege of playing with them. However, what is useful in both playing music and an artistic expression is a very poor tool to use in navigating the multivariate complexities of this wicked world. Due to my utter rejection of the groupthink of social collectivism and my stance on the importance of responsible government limited by constitutional law and inherent rights, my former musical chums have come to loathe me with a flaming passion. They live purely by feelings, where rational, calm, and circumspect discourse are words they would need to look up in a dictionary to understand. Yet, what I have witnessed in the music scene has now become what my wife calls the spirit of the times, where hyper-emotionality, outrage, and grievance narratives are all that determines how folks will react to the harsh realities confronting them today. Whether this is due to being raised without discipline and suffering consequences for their bad behavior, where parents and teachers both taught little Johnny and dear wee Sally that they were the center of the universe, such that their false perceptions of what constituted fair ought to trump their own failure to toughen up, or whether this is due to the chemicals and hormones in our food that are turning our brains into mush, who can tell? Perhaps the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic, empathy, and decision making, has become an amorphous blob of useless fat, leaving the amygdala's survival focused primal center in control. Today, much of the West is fulfilling Devo's prophecy in its tune, Jocko homo. They tell us that we lost our tails, evolving up from little snails. I say it's all just wind and sails. Are we not men? We are Devo, are we not men? Devo, we are pinheads now. We are not whole, we are pinheads all. Jocko, homo, are we not men? We are Devo, are we not men? Devo, are we not pins? We are Devo. Monkey men all in business suits, teachers and critics all dancing the poot. We are living in a dystopia where monkey men in suits dancing the poot have become our leaders doing the jerk as they climb deeper into bed with murderous Islamic theocracies and communist China that supplies these dictatorships with the means to attack Western democracies, along with the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel. We have now regressed into our amygdala's lizard brain to become lizardus, erectus, Devo. Are we not men? We are pinheads, one and all, Devo.